Hi. I'll make you blush first before we start asking questions, if you don't mind.
You're going to make me blush first?
We're going to try. First of all,
let me say a couple of words.
Okay, I knew you would take over.
First of all, I'm really pleased to have had the pleasure to have Colorado be such a large part of my golfing life. You know, when I first... Some things that happened, I came out here with my father in 1959 at the Broadmoor, and we were playing, and I had a wonderful relationship with my dad. My dad was a great guy, and he was so supportive with everything I did. And we were sitting down at dinner one night, it was about, I don't know, it was after the second or third round, and he did something he'd never done before. And he said, "Jack, remember out there on the fifth hole today, why did you chip that ball rather than putt it?" And I said, whoa, Dad, time out. I said, "You are my best friend." And I said, "You know, we've never gotten into lessons, we've never done anything else. I've got to do this myself." And he said, "I agree with you." The last time he ever gave me a lesson, he gave me many lessons in life, but you know, that was something that a relationship with my father that was absolutely turned out to be great between the two of us. And then of course I came back the next year, played at Cherry Hills, and then you will not remember, but I did come back down to the Broadmoor and play the NCAA. It was a very is unmemorable a word? Occurrence. I came down and played the first round, and I played Bert Yancey, and nobody knew Bert Yancey. He didn't know Jack Nicklaus, and I beat Bert easily. And it went to the second round. I played a kid from Stanford named Steve Smith, and Steve beat me 5-3. So I never got a chance to putt that 18th green again. But anyway, it was still a good experience. Then I got in the opportunity not only to play more golf in Colorado, but I got the opportunity when Jack Vickers called me to ask me to help him with Castle Pines. That was a really nice gesture on Jack's part, but not only that, he had the confidence that I could do it. A little known fact of useless information I'll give you is that Jack, and maybe why I got the job at Castle Pines, is Jack Vickers and his brothers came to Muirfield a couple years later when I opened Muirfield, and guess who made the first hole-in-one at Muirfield Village? Jack Vickers. Our 16th hole. All right, Jackson? Anyway, a few years passed and had been blessed to be able to do, I don't know, 9 or 10 golf courses in Colorado. I've had a blast coming here. I've had 2 or 3 homes in Colorado. I've skied a lot in Colorado. I've had the pleasure to spend a lot of time with Gerald Ford when he was here. What a wonderful man. And that was fun to be able to ski with him and play golf with him. And our families get to know each other. We've had, all I'm trying to say is we've had a great time in Colorado. We've enjoyed our time, we've had our fun, and it's nice to be back here this evening.
You made yourself cry. I didn't have to. That may have been the best question I never asked. That was a great answer. Actually, that answered like 3 of my questions, so we might be in trouble. And we were supposed to do a video too, but that's all right. We'll get to the video.
Okay. Your turn.
I know, I got it.
I don't have any more to say. You sit down.
We'll jump to the 59 amateur at the Broadmoor,
okay,
if you don't mind. Take us away from the golf course. Where were you and Barbara at that point of your lives?
Barbara and I were, let's see, that was, we were 10. I was a Phi Gamma at Ohio State. Hale was a Phi Gamma at
Colorado.
Colorado.
Yours truly was a Phi
And
Gamma.
thank you, Fiji Brothers. And Barbara and I were 10, we got engaged that Christmas.
What was life like for you back then?
I'm sorry?
What was life like for you back then?
I was a sophomore at Ohio State, having a blast. Kidding? Isn't that what all college kids do?
When did you know you loved Barbara?
Well, that's a question that I failed to answer on many occasions. You know, I met Barbara. We met our first week in college, Tim, and the gal I was dating was talking with Barbara, and I walked up, or vice versa, or whatever I was talking about.
Hope I'm not getting you in trouble.
Anyway, this gal went to class, and I walked Barbara down to the bacteriology building where she was helping out down there. And I called her for a date. And she worked me into her schedule about 3 weeks later. So love was not there yet. But Barbara and I started dating, and I'll have to say by the time the end of the year rolled around, we were doing pretty well, and I was pretty well going.
You went home with the amateur trophy, and she was
I'm
all
sorry?
proud. When you went home with the amateur trophy, was she proud?
What
The U.S. Amateur Trophy, when you won the U.S. Amateur in '59.
Oh, that was a couple years later.
Oh, okay.
That was 57 with that.
I got you. Okay.
So, I mean, that was a long time ago. Okay.
What did that wink mean? Let's focus on the amateur.
Okay.
59 amateur. I want you to talk a little bit about it. You were, not the direct quote, but the quote, the putt you made, you talked about its importance in relationship to where you were at that point in your life and your career. Take us back there. Why was it that important?
Well, the way I look at the thing, I've been fortunate to play the amateur in 55, 56, 57, 58, now 59. I'm 19 years old. And I had a little bit of success, but not that much. Maybe, I don't remember, it was third, fourth round something. And I got to Broadmoor, and I sort of felt like I really liked the golf course. I really enjoyed it. And the first time in a mountain scene, trying to read these greens, you all been here before. You all know that when you're going uphill, you're putting downhill. And when it's going left, it's going right. Well, it was the same for everybody else, frankly. They had to get used to it too. But I can't remember. I qualified to play, and my first match was against Robert Tyler Jones Jr., the third. Robert Tyler Jones III. And Bob told me, he said, they got out here, he says, I called my dad, and this was after the match, he didn't do it before the match. He said, I called my dad before the match, he said, hey Dad, he said, I'm qualified for the amateur. He says, you got to come out and watch me. And he said, who are you playing, Bob? He said, well, I'm playing some young kid named Nicklaus. Nicklaus? You mean Jack Nicklaus? He said, yeah, I've heard of him. No, I'm not coming out to watch you play 13 holes.
All right, there we go.
So, we played 13 holes. That was the start of the tournament. Then we had, in the middle of the tournament, we had, I can't remember where I played Dave Smith, about the
You're up more than
fourth round, or maybe quarterfinals. And it was a day that we had fog, and we were out playing, and you could not see anything. And I remember, hit it here. We did it, I don't think we should ever play, but we did play. We got through the round, and I got by Dave Smith. I got to the semifinals, and I played Gene Andrews. And I played Gene Andrews earlier in the year in the finals of North-South. And I got by Gene 1-up in 36 holes. We had a 36-hole semifinal. I got by Gene 2-1. He was a tough little bird to play. And then I got Charlie Coe. Charlie Coe was the defending champion. We got on the tee, and I started off birdie, birdie, birdie. I was 1-up. So I knew I was in for a long day. Charlie was a good player. I loved playing with Charlie. We played a lot of golf together. He was a good friend and a great competitor. And we got to the 18th hole all even. We both hit 3-wood off the 18th hole into the fairway. I think Charlie had 138 yards and I had 135 yards to the pin. And Charlie hit a little 8-iron, which was just a little bit too much and just rolled over the back fringe. And so I took a 9-iron and I hit it about 8 feet under the hole. Charlie chipped the ball came down and almost rolled in the cup. I immediately conceded it before it fell in. And went back to get to what you're talking about. I think it was probably the most important putt I ever made in my life. And the reason I say that is that once you have the opportunity in a major championship to have a chance to win, and you perform and do that, it puts it in your mind that you can do that, and you can do it. You can do it again when the next time rolls around because you have done it. When you always hear about the guys that the best players never won a major. Well, it's hard to win a major, and it's hard to win the first one. I was fortunate on the tour that my first major was the U.S. Open. I was 22 years old, so it was early in my career, and I didn't have to ever have that kind of thing. And I was very fortunate that happened. But that putt, a little left to right, up the hill, well, you saw it earlier.
Were you thinking about the mountains and all that stuff at that point, or had you played the
No,
golf
I
course?
knew the greens by then. At least that one.
I heard you were out there today and they were trying to replicate the putt, and actually they were in the wrong spot. Is that true?
Well, we went out and take a picture where they thought the pin might be when we played. I think we missed it by about 20 feet. It was over to the left. It was the only place you could have a little left to right putt.
Just to button that up, and before we move to the 60 Open, you also said it was the most exhilarating and exhausting duel you'd ever been engaged in. I'm not sure if you meant that at the time, or was it like your duel in the sun with Watson, for example? Was this tougher than the duel in the sun?
Well, I don't know. Tim, I was 19 years old. Nothing is very tough when you're 19 years old. You know, you just
Most exhilarating and exhausting, you said?
Well, you know, that was a press comment.
That was fun.
But you know, when you're 19 years old, you don't get tired.
I got
You get pumped up and all charged up, and you go after it. But to win the U.S. Amateur is it's a long trip because you play. I think you play. In those days, I think we played maybe the third and fourth round on the same day, then the fifth and sixth round on the same day. Then the semifinals were 36 holes, and the finals were 36 holes. So there's a lot of golf.
Let's segue to the next year. U.S. Open at Cherry Hills.
Okay.
Some called it the greatest Open ever. You might disagree based on where you finished. But it was your first battle with Arnold. There was a lot going on. Did you have the confidence in you at that point in time to feel and believe that you could win that golf tournament?
Well, you know, I shot 142 first two rounds, and my dad came to me and said, "Guess who you're playing with tomorrow?" I had no clue. And I said, "No," I said, "You're going to play with Ben Hogan." Woo! That was fun. I tell you, I never enjoyed 36 holes more than playing with Hogan. Never learned more. He was fantastic. He was great to play with. People talk about Hogan being quiet and everything. Hogan talked. Hogan said, "Nice shot." Hogan was terrific. He was just great. And and he played great. And it was a time when he had hit all 18 greens in the second round, and then in the third round, we played the third and fourth round together. It was 36 holes on Saturday in those days. We played the third round. He had all 18 greens in the third round, and he had the first 16 greens of the fourth round. So that's 52 straight greens in a row he hit in regulations. It's not bad. And I had the opportunity to be right there watching that, watching all that great golf, watching that great shot making. They said he couldn't. They said he stood over a putt for eternity and couldn't make it. Well, he did miss some putts, but he made a ton too. He made a lot of putts. Because you had to make a lot of putts if you want to be in contention. But it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me was to not win that tournament.
Why?
Well, if I had won that tournament as a 20-year-old, not really knowing how to win, I would have been scratching my ears out here like this. And it was, you would have, I probably wouldn't have worked at it. I said, well, I'm really good. I don't need to work at this. It was a learning experience for me. I came through 9 holes. After 9 holes of the last round, I had a 1-shot lead. And I parred 10. 11th hole, I hit a driver to 4-iron and went through the green, and I didn't get it up and down. And Hogan and I both birdied 12. I believe Ben birdied it, but I birdied it, I know. Ben played the prettiest shot in there I've ever seen. Beautiful, soft, little sort of 5-wood he played into it. Anyway, we walked off the 12th green, and on the leaderboard was Nicklaus, 5. Palmer, 4. Hogan, 4. Suchak, 4. Kroll, 4. And I was leading the US Open, the 1 shot with 6 holes to play. Now, Hogan said after the tournament was over, he says, I played with a kid today, if he'd known how to win, would have won the US Open by several shots. Well, I didn't know how to win. And so the next hole I had about a 12, 13 foot putt up the hill for birdie, and I ran it by the hole about that far. And I had a ball mark in my line, and at 20 years old, I didn't have the presence. It wasn't my ball mark. I didn't have the presence to ask if I could fix it. And I hit the ball mark and missed the putt. I 3-putted the next green at 14. 15, I hit it in the back fringe, chipped it up, and made par. 16, I hit it like this, missed my putt. 17, I hit it 8 feet behind the hole. Watched Hogan hit his shot. It hit just over the water and came back in the water. I hit 8 feet behind the hole, missed the putt. Last hole, hit it up on the right fringe, just at the edge of the rough. And I thought the tournament was over. Didn't have enough experience to know that other people were trying to win the US Open too. Then never realized that they would have trouble. Hello. Anyway, I chipped it down and missed my putt. So I bogeyed for that last hole. And then Arnold, you saw the putt Arnold hole, which was about a 4 or 5 footer, to win by 2 shots. So if I parred the last hole, I would at least put pressure on Arnold to putt. And in those days, they didn't play, pairings were not by score. They sort of randomly paired how they wanted to do so. It was strange that Arnold was playing behind us. But it was a wonderful experience. I loved playing Cherry Hills. I loved what I learned from it. And it was one of the great experiences of my life.
A couple questions. When Hogan said that, I don't know if you saw the quote at the time, but did it seem harsh to you, or did you say the quote about if you had any experience, you would have won the Open by 5 shots?
No, I said if he'd known, I played with a young man if he'd known how to win.
Right. But all I'm saying is, how did you react to that when you heard the quote?
I didn't hear about it until a long time later. I wouldn't. Dan Jenkins is one that, because there was all kinds of quotes that came, and Dan Jenkins went back and he said, "Oh, Ben," he said, "I'm really sorry, that you didn't finish it off." He said, "Oh, heck," he says, "I played." That's what he said.
I said it then.
And that's what Dan said.
That's what it was.
But anyway,
what was Hogan like? I mean, to you.
Hogan,
He seemed so tough.
What the greatest thing that happened from that event, one of the great things to me, is that's 1960 at the U.S. Open. Next time I saw Ben Hogan was at the Masters in 1961. He walked in the locker room, 2 pair of shoes and shoe bags hanging over his shoulder, walking in, saw me, he says, "Hey fella, how you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing fine, Mr. Hogan, how are you?" "It's great." He says, "You got a game?" I said, "No, sir." Off we went. Ben Hogan asked me if we played 2 practice rounds in Augusta. U.S. Open later at Oakland Hills. He saw me in the locker room, did the same thing. We played 2 practice rounds. And I got the biggest, that was so flattering for a young man to have the experience of playing with Ben Hogan and to be sought out to do that. And I was on top of the world.
I think most of us are intrigued by that Open, so I'm just going to ask you maybe one more about it too, and we'll move on. But you said you learned how to play golf that day. You're talking back at the Open. Some people said, though, that Dean Beeman said it, that Hogan never paid attention to anybody, but he could see him paying attention to you, that he was fascinated by you, that he saw the greatness in you. Did you notice? I'm sure you're in your own little world doing your thing, but
Tim,
did you feel that?
I wouldn't have noticed that, but he obviously watched me. That's why he came to me at Augusta the next year. Why I came to me in the U.S. Open. And he was always a great fan, in the word fan.
Right. Okay.
He always liked what I did, and he followed my career. And I was always very flattered by that. You know, the Masters I won in '66, I played with Hogan in the last round there. Nobody remembers that. That was about Ben. Ben, I think, played 1 more year at Augusta, but I played the last round with him in '66.
You said you learned how to play golf that day. What do you tell us? Give us take it deeper.
Well, when I say learn how to play golf, I learned a lot about how to play golf by the mistakes I made, by seeing that everybody, you know, when you're coming down the stretch, I get a lot of young kids that come to me and they talk about, we can't finish this golf tournament. I'm having trouble. I just can't do what you have to do. I said, guys, you know, you've got to learn, you've got to find out who you are. And I found out a lot about myself. And you got to find out who you are and how you do it and how you play within yourself and how you don't get out of your own comfort zone. And you've got to be in your own comfort zone. I was not in my comfort zone. And as I played more, because of that experience, I learned a lot about what my comfort zone was going to be and how I was going to stay within that, play within that. Rory came to me, this is about, I don't know, 4 years ago, whatever it was. He came to me, he was down at the Honda tournament. And somebody said, you need to go talk to Jack. So we came over, and I spent about an hour and a half with Rory talking to him about, you know, he said he hadn't won since Dubai. And he said, I just can't finish. I can't seem to get there. He says, I don't seem to do the right thing. I said, Rory, he says, you've got to understand who you are, what you do, and be patient. He said, you've got to realize that everybody else coming down the stretch is having the same problem as you are. You're not the Lone Ranger out there. Everybody else is nervous too. And I said, he says, one of these tournaments, all of a sudden you're going to shoot 32 or 3 the last 9 rather than 36, and you're going to win. So about 3 weeks later, maybe 4, he's playing in Charlotte, and he goes out and shoots 63 the last round. And he won by, I don't know how many he won by. So I dropped him a note and I said, you know, Rory, I told you to be patient, but this is ridiculous. He's going to win a lot of golf tournaments, that young man. He's a very, very big talent.
Let's fast forward 33 years now to the Senior Open at Cherry Hills. It was your last Champions Tour major, your last USGA win. You beat Weiskopf. You did pretty well against Weiskopf in your career. What kind of relationship did you have with him as competitors and also as friends?
I had a good relationship with Tom. Tom and I never really knew each other, met, but that was about all when we were at college. I was a senior when Tom was a freshman. Freshmen did not play back in those days. Ed, Steve, and Tom were together in the same class. And so I didn't really get to know Tom until I was on tour. And but Tom was, I thought, an unbelievable striker of the ball. He was a great talent, who did not know that he was a great talent most of the time. He knew he could hit the ball, but he didn't know how good he really was. And Tom always had trouble with me. I think that comment at the '86 Masters was, what's running through Jack's mind? He says, if I'd known what's going through Jack's mind, I'd have won this tournament several times.
Very telling.
Well, Tom was a little bit that way. I think that, he did win British Open. I think he had an opportunity to win a lot more tournaments. He didn't quite get there, but I thought as a talent, I probably have not seen very many guys who struck the ball as Tom Weiskopf did.
You talked about being nervous that last day, from what I read at that Senior Open, going into it.
Well, you got all the newspaper clips. You didn't let me
I'm
read
just
any
trying
of
to
them.
get.
Huh? I don't remember whether I was nervous or not. Tim, I'm always nervous.
Really?
I've always been nervous.
18 majors.
I think
73
absolutely.
majors.
And if you aren't nervous, there's something wrong with you.
Is that okay? I was nervous before this interview tonight. Is it okay to say I was nervous before this interview
I
tonight?
feel nervous.
Is it okay to say I was nervous before this interview tonight?
It's okay.
Okay.
But if you're not nervous, as I said, there's something wrong with you. So I think, and personally, if you're not nervous and you're trying to finish up a golf tournament, I don't think there's ever been one that I finished off if I was relaxed. I always wanted to be, when I prepared, I think Barbara's always given me the best phrase, and she says there's no excuse for not being prepared, properly prepared. And so I always felt like if I properly prepared myself, if I was going into a tournament and that I'd learned the golf course, I'd learned the problems, I'd learned what issues I was having at the time, and if I was ready to play, and it got to be Thursday, I didn't want to be ready totally on Thursday. I wanted to be pretty good on Thursday, I wanted to be a little better on Friday, I wanted to be at my best on Saturday, and I thought I could carry it over to Sunday. So I was always trying to climb the mountain, and so I always wanted to be a little bit unsure of myself, how good I was going to be that day. I always wanted to say, I've got to be careful, I've got to watch what I'm doing, I got to work at this, I got to make sure I don't do these stupid things. I always wanted to be on point, in other words. And so when I did that, then I seemed to play my best golf. That was a formula that worked for me. And if somebody played better, hey, put a smile on your face, shake their hand, and say, well done.
I always said that you just were starting to allude to how you handled defeat. And one of the reasons I've admired you so much, all the wins you had is great, all the other stuff, but the way your sportsmanship, your gentlemanly way, that is something that to me has always stood out. Is that from your dad? Where did that come from?
Well, my dad always said exactly what I just said a minute ago. And I never worried about losing. Because I knew that in golf, if you win 10 or 15% of the time, you're going to dominate the game. That's the way the game is. And so if I've given my best effort of preparing, if I've given it my best effort on the golf course, if I haven't done a bunch of stupid things, then I'm going to be in contention, or I'm going to be close. And I always said, if somebody plays better, then I never had an issue with that. Because, if I've done my best, that's all I can do. There's 143 other guys out there trying to do their best, and a lot of weeks, somebody does better than you do. And that's fine. Well done. Nice going.
Do you tell your grandkids?
I'll get you next week.
Do you tell your grandkids that now?
Well, I somewhat. I only got one of them plays golf, but I have 22 grandkids and one plays golf. How about that?
But you know all their names, and that's the important
Yeah, I do know their names and their birthdays and what they like to do. And I'm Peepaw. That's my nickname. My wife's Mimi. And so, but the kids, I try to pass it along, but they're not my kids. They're my kids' kids. And Barbara says, okay, grandparents got to keep their mouth shut. Gotta zip their lip. But no, I try to impart when they ask, and try to help when you can. But we raised our 5 kids, and we were very, very proud. We had all 5 of our kids went to college on a D1 scholarship. Jackie went to golf at North Carolina. Steve was football at Florida State. Nam was volleyball at Georgia. Gary was golf at Ohio State. Michael was golf at North Carolina. And I never really thought about that, but all the kids became pretty decent athletes. And they all played a lot of sports. And, I got a great kick out of that. I got a great kick out of watching them play and watching what they do. And the kids that they have are all pretty darn good athletes too. And Barbara and I, we go 5-6 games every week watching our grandkids play and love it. Absolutely love it. Now, most of the time, and we finish the game and they've lost, and Barbara says, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. And I do most of the time.
But sometimes you can't help yourself.
No, sometimes I can't help myself. Sometimes I just said, I think we could have done a little bit better tonight. Maybe let's try this. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, it's been a wonderful experience with the 5 kids. It's been a great experience with the grandkids. And, we've got Nick, Nan's second boys, good football player, played at Florida State, and of course he's with Buffalo Bills now. And we got Charlie's playing lacrosse at Rutgers, and Will's committed to play lacrosse at North Carolina. And Nan, we've had a couple of really good gals who play volleyball. And Tim, we love it. We love going to all this stuff and being part of it. And it's just fun.
Just to button up 93, I'm not sure, just to button up 93.
Were we talking about a golf tournament?
We were. It's in there. I'm not sure if you were a peepaw at the time. You were 53 years old.
We didn't have any grandkids when we were 50. When we were 56, we had 8.
But you must have been a heck of an athlete because you were still banging that 1-iron around Cherry Hills in 93.
I played a lot of 1-irons in Cherry Hills. Cherry Hills is a golf course that...
but how about hitting the 1-iron at that age?
You want to play a 1-iron a lot.
How about hitting the 1-iron at that age there? Wasn't that something?
At that age?
Yeah.
Well, I'm still strong enough to play it there. I mean, I can't even play a 4-iron now. The 1-iron went by, the 2-iron went by, the 3-iron went by.
You got all hybrids, you got all head covers in there?
Well, I need a bag with about this, it's about this big around and all leather on top of the cover.
I'm not sure where we are in terms of
I
time.
don't know either. What is that?
But Ed, we okay? Keep going? All right. Let's talk, they want us to keep going, so we'll keep going. Let's talk about your design work here in Colorado. I know you're down Castle Pines today. What from covering that tournament, I always love going there. Editorial, I'll say what a shame it is that there isn't a golf tournament anymore at Castle Pines, especially after seeing Mr. Vickers in that picture, in that news clip, and then seeing him here tonight. How did your relationship with Jack develop? Your relationship with Jack developed?
I don't know how it developed, except that I knew Jack Vickers and his family. I think from the first time I probably played in the Trans-Miss. I think I was 18 years old and played in Hutchinson, Kansas. And I met a lot of the Vickers then and got to know them and got to know Jack through the years. Played a little bit with Jimmy and Tommy, and it's just got to know the family. And then when I did Muirfield, as I said earlier, I invited him down to see the club. I wanted to try to
sell memberships.
I'm trying to get some memberships. None of them bought a membership. Can you believe that? Not one of them. Anyway, that's okay. we did all right there. But anyway, when Jack called me and said, come out and see it, I remember going out and looking at this piece of property, and I said, and of course, you know, my first time coming out at 6,500 feet, walking through the mountains, I'm sitting in the mirror. I mean, I'm a sea level guy, and that was a pretty good jaunt running through there. But Jack had a pretty good idea where he wanted the golf course to be. He more had a better idea where he wanted the clubhouse to be. And I wanted the clubhouse down where 8 green comes in and 18 tee, and I wanted 18 or 9 to be 1-1. I wanted to go up the hill, then go around and come back up. And Jack wanted the clubhouse at the top because you could see, so you could sit in the clubhouse and you could see Pikes Peak. And so that was the factor on why the clubhouse is where it is. And but anyway, it was fun working with Jack because anytime you have my best golf courses have always been ones where the owner has been very heavily involved. And Jack was very heavily involved. He wanted to be part of what it was. He was part of every decision. And sometimes my vote didn't count, which was okay.
Is it?
Sure, that's okay. I never worry about it if Jack wanted to do something and he thought it was the best interest of what was going on out there, and he would convince me that would be the right thing to do. We do it. I never have an issue with that. It's always to me is that you have an owner who wants to do the right thing. You want to do the right thing, and collectively you're going to end up with a better product than if you just do it yourself. So it was great working with the Vickers on that. Not only Jack, but Tommy and Jimmy were pretty heavily involved. And I was there today at the golf course. This summer we changed, or this fall we've changed about 4 holes at Castle Pines. And those of you who know the golf course, we changed the 5th green totally. It's a whole new hole. You got to go play it to see it. I'm not going to explain it. We changed the 6th green a little bit. 8th green moved it left. Moved the 8th green sits in beautifully now. We've changed the right of the 12th green. We did a lot of 13. This whole 16th hole is a whole new hole, now a water hole. The par 3 that had we played there was the water hole. Now it's got water moving out, and the lake comes down, and we're into the lake 15. So we did a lot of things there. I think the golf course is beautiful. I don't know whether Jack is trying to get a national open there or not, but he's got a golf course that I thought was pretty good to start with. Now it's better.
Can I rate that? We got 10 more. No,
Whatever you want to do.
we don't. Let's go. Next year's the 30th anniversary of the 1986 Masters. How about that?
Can you believe that?
30.
That was yesterday. I think anybody who's my age understands that.
What do you remember most about that? The 3
Well, what
finishes?
shot do you want to know? Well, I can give you club for club, yard for yard, the whole last. I can give you the last 10 holes pretty easily.
Best shot you hit in that last round?
The best shot I hit in the last round? I always got a kick out of I hit a lot of good shots. So I hit the best one, well, I don't know. I buried 9, 10, 11, but the shot I hit in the 13 was good, or 15 was good. I love standing back in the fairway talking with Jackie, and I asked him, I said, I was 214 yards, and I said, how far do you think a 3 will go here? And he says, I don't mean club. And he said, I think it's the right club. So I hit the 4-iron. Of course, I hit it in about 8 feet. Jackie, I made the putt. Jackie jumped up in the air. If he'd done that when he was in North Carolina, he were playing basketball. And then went to 16. And
16's the picture where Eric and
That was the shot.
16 was probably the best shot I had. And I had 175 yards, just a fraction of the wind coming in the face. Couldn't see the base of the pin behind the bunker. And I hit the shot. And I just knew where it was. And I reached down, picked up my tee, and Jackie said, "Be right, be right." And I just said, "It is." I can't believe that I made that remark. It was the cockiest remark I've ever made playing the game of golf. I mean, that ball could have gone anywhere. Anyway, it almost went in the hole. Anyway, made birdie there, and then of course I birdied 17, and then ended up winning. But Tim, what the experience of the '86 Masters was kind of an unusual thing that happened. My mother and my sister both came to the Masters, and they had not been to the Masters since 1959, first year I played. Why they picked '86, I'll have no idea. I mean, I wouldn't have picked '86 for anything. I wouldn't have thought I would ever do anything. Jackie was on the bag. Steve called me on Sunday morning. He was working for John Montgomery running the Hattiesburg tournament. And he said, "What do you think, Pops? What's it going to take?" And I said, "I think 66 will tie, 65 will win, Steve. Exact number I have in mind, don't shoot." Well, I shot. Anyway, you know, all kinds of things. And that was the winner where Tom McAllister said I was all done, washed up. Montgomery put it on the front of the refrigerator, all washed up. Clubs were all rusty. They were rusty. He was right. But
We're still fired up.
it had a lot of things that happened, and you know, it was kind of it was a neat way to enter into your major championship career, to have something that know the guys weren't afraid of me anymore. I didn't think I could win. Players didn't think I could win. Nobody thought I could win, but I did, and that was what we beat about it.
I'll go one more, if you don't mind. Maybe condensing two questions here. I love this group of new kids. I think they get it. They followed you, Arnold. You know, the people. They respect the press. They sign autographs. They make eye contact. They're polite, and they're also tremendous golfers. What do you think of this group of young kids now, in general? And I know you love Rory. And two, will anybody ever get to 6 at Augusta? In this day and age, with so much talent being as deep as it is on the PGA Tour, in the world of golf right now?
I think we've got it. I think it's as deep now as it's ever been. I think that we had we're pretty deep when we played. Hale and I were playing. I mean, I think we have a pretty deep bunch of guys. But today you look at Rory, Jordan,
Jason Day, Ricky Fowler.
I can remember him too. I appreciate that. You've got two young guys. Justin Thomas just won his first tournament a couple of weeks ago. I think the kid's terrific. One who hasn't won yet, who's going to win a lot, is Patrick Rogers.
Yeah.
He is a terrific kid.
You see him at the Bears Club,
I'm
right?
sorry?
You see him at the Bears Club, Rogers.
I got most of them are members of the Bears Club. I've got 25 touring pros that are members of the Bears Club. All these kids that I've named, except for Jason. Jason's a member of Deerfield. Jason Day.
Yep.
And these guys all come out and played. Keegan Bradley, Luke Donald, Ernie Els. They all live at the Bears Club, and in Florida. And boy, do they have some games. And most of their games they play with Michael Jordan. Jordan likes to play games, and he is a competitor. I saw him at the golf course the other day, and I don't know whether he thought I was watching or whether he hold a 12-footer and a 10-footer, 2 holes in a row to win all the money on both holes. Okay, but anyway, those guys are terrific, and there's more. I mean, Dustin's not that old. Dustin's still a young guy. You've got well, there's a bunch. I could start naming bunches. But what I think is kind of, and you know,
Brooks Koepka, Hideki
I'm
Matsuyama
sorry?
won your tournament.
Matsuyama. But the other thing is, I don't think Tiger's done. I think Tiger.
Can I turn on the tape recorder now for this?
No, that's all right. I think Tiger is too talented, too focused, and wants to play too badly to be done. He's just got too much talent. It's going to come out again. I don't think Phil's done. I think you've got, you got those guys, and there's probably one or two others in there. But what I think is what's kind of neat is you've got all these young guys who are not scared of the old guys anymore. And they're all out there fighting to win and try to go forward. And you've got the couple older guys in Phil and Tiger who are going to still going to be there. And I think I think the next couple of years is going to really be fun watching tournament golf. I think tournament golf's in a great state today. The tour's in a great state. The game from an international standpoint, I think, is doing great. The President's Cup was a great match, which you knew, which just finished up a month ago. We'll have a great Ryder Cup. You might ask a question about the Ryder Cup. They say, what's wrong with the Ryder Cup? Why can't the U.S. win? Play better. But it goes in cycles. It goes in cycles. I mean, U.S. won all of them, then Europe got the Great Britain got the European players in. Then they've had a run. The Americans will have it. With these young guys coming along, the Americans are going to have plenty of runs at winning the Ryder Cup and so forth. I think you're going to have some great Ryder Cups. You're going to have some more great President's Cups. The game of golf is just, I think, in great shape right now.
We love hearing you talk, Jack, but I think we're going to have to put a button on this one if you don't mind.
Sure.
I hate to be the guy to say that because you're Jack Nicklaus.
Well, let me just say again, I've had fun being here tonight. I'm here because of one man who picked up the phone and said, Jack, I'd like to have you come out to Colorado. And he said, well, you need to find a date to do that. Will Nicholson. Will has been an unbelievable friend to the Memorial Tournament, to the game of golf. He's just done. He's head of all our committees. I'm never going to pass the time. He's always going to just keep going. He's a great man, and you're lucky to have him here in Colorado. Thanks, Will. And thank you all very much, and thanks for listening patiently to all my crazy answers. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you, Tim, for a truly remarkable hour. I'm sure none of us will ever forget. I can honestly say the very first golf tournament I ever remember watching and being interested in was the 1986 Masters. So how neat to have the champion here and sharing his comments with that. I just have a couple thank yous before we adjourn. First, a round of applause for our MC, Mr. Tom Green.
Yay!
Tom, I have to say you are worth every penny we paid you. But seriously, Tom, to show our appreciation, the Broadmoor has extended an invitation to have you back to enjoy a night stay here and a round of golf on one of their fabulous courses sometime next year. You have to do it before preparations begin for the 2018 Senior Open, because I've seen your swing and I don't think the course can handle it. We won't have enough time to recover. Tim Roseport, we're so grateful for you to take the time out of your busy schedule to come and host this fireside chat with Jack. As an enticement to get you back to the great Centennial State, the Castle Pines Golf Club has offered up an overnight stay for you and 3 guests at your convenience to come back and play some golf here in Colorado. Make sure you check my calendar so we can make that work. Jack, your legacy as the greatest champion the game has ever known is clearly secure. What makes you a great champion is not just your wins, it's the class and grace and humanness that you've shown both on the course in victory and in defeat. Jack and Barbara, on behalf of the Colorado Golf Foundation and your countless friends here in the Centennial State, a gift in the amount of $25,000 has been made to the Nicklaus Children's Healthcare Foundation and its mission of supporting innovative programs focused on the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of childhood illness. I had the privilege of sitting next to Barbara tonight, and I think someone mentioned it earlier, but clearly the greatest team that golf has ever seen. And Barbara, it was such a pleasure to be able to spend a little bit of time with you. So as we close the first 100 years of golf in Colorado, I'd just like to thank everyone in this room for coming out. What an unbelievable outpouring of support for the game of golf, for the 6 luminaries that we recognize, and thank all of them for being here, and obviously for Jack and Barbara to be here. It made it just the most special evening. Here's to the next 100 years, and we'll see you on the golf course next year. We're adjourned.